that no longer serves you. And when you start setting some standards in your life,
So a lot of times breakups means things are gonna be broken. And you had to make a conscious decision. That's who I was. This is who I am. What am I?
so I think my ego was one of the things that I had to really break up with.
Just because it's hard does not mean it's not necessary.
When it comes to your life, your life, you
Right.
have to think about whatever it is that you need to break up with that no longer serves you. Most of the time when they hear breaking up, what do people think? Thinking about breaking up today, dog. What you
Yo, welcome to another great episode of Two Paths Podcast, where you already know you got your main man, the postman, my main man, LD. And today we are going to bring y'all one of our master classes. But before we get into that, if you have not went to YouTube, please go to our YouTube channel and like, comment, subscribe, share, whatever you need to do. We're on all platforms. LD, take it to them.
we talking about breaking up today, dog. What you think about breaking up?
Breaking up with who?
Most of the time when they hear breaking up, what do people think?
They significant others.
Significant others. But today we're gonna switch it up and we're gonna talk about breaking up with the things that no longer serve you. How you feel about that?
Oh, now you going now you don't flip the script. You don't flip the script, man. You
Cause we
spice this thing up.
Hey, cause we're gonna influence some minds today, and we're gonna change some shit up today, and we're gonna give people the chance to really think about this thing, because when it comes to your life, you
Right.
have to think about whatever it is that you need to break up with that no longer serves you, so that you can progress or move forward, because that's how God designed the whole game. God did not design us to go back and stay back. We might go back, but the go back is to bounce back.
Okay. So since we talking about breakups, right? Because just coming from a standpoint, I'm glad you had corrected it, where you was coming from with it, because just hearing that, people be like, break up. What he mean, break up? But now that you done broke that down, breaking up is one of the hardest things that you're gonna have to do in your life.
Come on.
However, just because it's hard does not mean it's not necessary. And a lot of things in life that's necessary be the hardest things that you have to do. And in order to, like you just said, move forward or catapult yourself or whatever, it's some things you're gonna have to break up with in life. It's some people, some places, and some things that you're gonna have to detach from. See, that's the word I like to use. Break up to me means to detach, to cause some form of separation with you and whatever is holding you at a place in your life that you no longer want to be. And you just said it. If it's not serving you a purpose, why am I still here? What am I holding on to? So I want you to take this moment to give us a little bit about things that you've had to break up with before we really dive into this.
I think I had to break up with ego.
Okay.
I think my ego had me in a lot of trouble and had me in a lot of situations that I couldn't get myself out of sometimes. When you let ego rule and run your life, I'm not saying you have to kill the ego, but I'm just saying you have to put some type of separation between you and your ego, because if you don't, your ego can ruin you. And my ego was no longer serving me like I needed it to. After football, I had to change my lifestyle. I had to change the way I approach life.
Okay.
So I had to change my ego, because now I'm not on this field. I'm not on this hyper competitive field anymore.
Right.
I'm in now a place where I'm amongst citizens, everyday citizens who get up, take care of their families, provide for their families, go to their jobs. So everybody ain't the same. On the field, on a team, people are the same 9 times out of 10 on the field. But now done and removed, I think I had to break up with my ego, because it was driving me into a place of isolation, because nobody didn't like me, because I would just say shit because I wanted to say it. And I didn't care about how the other person felt or how they received it, right? And it started getting me into a place of he's fun, but we don't like him. So I think my ego was one of the things that I had to really break up with. But if you break up with something, now there's a void. So now you have to fill that void. And I felt that void now, and I joined or went out and got in a relationship with better habits, got in a relationship with self-control. I got in a relationship with reading. I got in a relationship with praying. I got in a relationship with God.
Okay.
So is he so when you break up with something, now there's a void. So now, okay, what do I fill that void with? So I actually filled that void with some things that now serve me to this day, which is praying, which is exercising, which is taking walks in nature, which is solitude, which is journaling, reading, which is slowing down, taking deep breaths, stretching. So these things keep me at a baseline joyfulness.
And so, and I like how you brought that, right? Because when I was reading over some things about breakup that you had sent me earlier, that's where I was at. That's the point I had reached. You know what I'm saying? Because it made me understand, hey, what did you have to break up with to get to where you are now? Because Lord knows you had to make some type of separation, some type of detachment or disconnect from something in order for you to be where you are now, because you're not where you were before or yesterday or last year, whatever. We got a tendency. I'm not gonna say it's a problem, but we have a tendency that we like to hold on to old habits, old mindsets, old commitments, even old versions of ourselves, right? And we consider that being loyal. We're not understanding that staying in these commitments, these habits, these mindsets, you're not being loyal. You're not being loyal. What you are, though, you can identify with is insane, because you find yourself doing the same thing, expecting a different result, but you're holding on to these same old things. And until you let those things go, until you're able to catapult yourself to the next level, then that's where you're going to be stuck at, right? So in life, things are going to run their course. And we have to allow things to run their course. But once the course has been ran, what do you do now there? Do you try to rewrite the script to get it to do the same thing over? Because you enjoyed a lot of the things that came with those old habits that you got, those old commitments, those old people, places, and things. It's something about that wants you just to hold on, that you'll never want to let that go. And you are mistaken that with being loyal. And that's not being loyal. What happens is you become stagnant. So now you're dealing with stagnation in your life, meaning you're not going anywhere fast. You're going to be stuck right here. And you being stuck right here means what? You're going to continue to get what comes with being right here. So for me, my biggest breakup had to be with the image that I had created, the persona that I had created for myself, that everybody around me had fell in love with. I had to detach and disconnect from that individual, because that individual no longer served me. He may have still been able to serve the people, but he no longer served me with where I was going at in my life, because I wasn't going in that direction that I had to went so many times over the years. I got tired of going down that road. And that's even with the name of our podcast, Two Paths Podcast. You get tired of going down one path, you're going to find a way to get on another one, right? So a lot of people, like I just told you, we were speaking the other day, a lot of people fell in love with the image and the persona that I had created around me, but that wasn't really who I was. But I had to make that a part of who I was, because of the practice over time that I had to put in and the work that I had to put in on this image. So this image overshadowed who I really was. That image that I had to put out there and got so attached to it and committed to had me stagnant, man. That image had me stuck right there in the hood, doing hood shit, with a rental car mentality. That's the word I'm looking for. It's the rental car mentality. You got the glitz, the glamour, you get to ride through, you get to come through, however you want it, and then you got to turn it in, because it don't belong to you. That image wasn't me. I had to turn it in. I had to get rid of it in order for me to become who I needed to be for myself and to be able to fulfill the purpose. because the image can't no longer serve the purpose, but I got a purpose that I got to fulfill that only I can do. So I got to step from behind the image to get in front of it now and then move forward. And a lot of things that we're going to have to do, and this is for our viewers and our listeners, is identify the anchors. What is holding you to these commitments, these mindsets, these habits? What's holding you there? Why do you find it so hard to let that go? And identify that. And once you can identify your anchors, then you can begin to identify what propels you, what moves you, which would be your engine. So we got anchors and we got engines. So once you identify your anchors, then you can work on getting your engine to work right.
So what's the anchor? It's a weight.
Uh,
It's the weight.
Something that's going to hold you in place.
It's that simple.
That's
Something
right.
that's not allowing you to move forward in your forwardness.
Mm-hmm.
You remember, God created you to be light in
That's
your
right.
thinking, in your movement, and in your spiritual life. God created you to be light. But what happens is, as we move through life, we start picking up different identities. We start attaching to different sources.
Mm-hmm.
We start hanging out in different environments. So all these things, they start to play a role in your life. And sometimes these outer things can outweigh the things of the inner. And
Okay.
when the things of the outer start to outweigh the things of the inner, that's when you become anchored. Now you start questioning yourself when you already have the answer. If you have to ask yourself a question, that means you already know the answer. If you have to ask somebody else a question, that means you already know the answer, but you're scared to trust yourself.
Mm.
And I think when you form any type of relationship, if you don't know thyself, some majority of the times that thing that you formed a relationship with will outweigh the relationship that you have with self. And you see it even in physical relationships where a man or a woman feel like they have to stay. Even though they've been wanting to leave and everything in them is telling them to leave, they still find a reason or excuse to stay versus trusting their gut. And they stay in that relationship and then they start to lose themselves and they start to die in that relationship. A lot of us start to die in our relationships with our limiting beliefs. We've allowed ourselves to limit ourselves for so long to where we now stay in that relationship, and now we get to a point to where we think that that's the way of life. I must go out there and I must lose because that's probably how God intended it for it to be, because I've lost so much.
Wow.
So we form these relationships with these intangible ideologies as well. And these ideologies start to now, if we're not careful, they start to govern. You ain't governing, but these ideologies and these systematic things out there, I would say it, but I'm gonna leave that alone. They start to govern your life. And now you start to lose everything that God has given you, which is you and everything. You start to say, my kid, you start to say stuff like this. My kids are my life. Working out is my life. I love working out. You start to say, my wife is my life. My job is my life. Oh, I love this watch. What? And that's why life and death lies in the power of the tongue, because what you speak carries weight. And that weight, if not careful, will anchor you. Nothing should be stronger than the life that God has given you to live. Nothing should overpower what God has given you, which is life. Yes, all these things are in my life, but they are a part of my life. And they are a part of my life because I think that those things can serve me and to helping me become a better me over time.
Okay.
When I become a better me, then they get a better version of me. They get a better person. They get the abundance and the wealth of my labor, my work.
Okay.
But they're not my life.
Okay.
And I think people make that huge mistake of making things their life versus a part of their life. And those things now, which was meant for good, now it's like a catch-22 later on in life, because now when those things are removed, a part of them gets removed and another part gets removed. And it don't become in spite of, now they're just gone. And that's what we talk about a lot. Now people start to develop depression, anxiety. They start to worry. They start to lean on things too much versus
Yeah.
leaning. They start to believe in things on the outside versus believing everything that the inside is directing them toward. So they
Yeah.
lose their gut instinct. So these relationships, in relation to what we're talking about, it throws off the dynamics of your chemistry. You don't operate the way you need to operate because something's operating you.
So, with everything you just said, it makes so much sense. And this is why. Because everything you just spoke about, I got one word for it: obligation.
Mm, mm,
People begin to feel, and listen,
mm,
feel, which is an emotion of, you have a feeling that you are obligated to these things, whether it's a mindset, a routine, something that you have practiced over time, but you have now obligated yourself to be anchored. The thing that is weighing you down, you won't let go because you feel like this is who you are. I'm supposed to be going through this here. A lot of people got the saying, and I've used it a lot as well: it is what it is. Well, that ain't always true. A lot of times it's whatever you make it, because you got a choice. We got the spirit of discernment, meaning we have free will to decide and choose whatever it is we would want to do, or whatever it is we want it is to be. You understand what I'm saying? So a lot of people, the way they look at life from a standpoint, if they take the time to step outside of the box and then look into the field, they'll get to really see the game. But like you said, for you, your ego, as long as you was on the field playing football, you was in the game. The minute you step away from the game, you got a chance to look into the game, right? And now you say you had to make a conscious decision. That's who I was. This is who I am. What am I going to do now? So it always starts with I. 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 What am I going to do? Because now that's accountability. You're not waiting for someone else to give you the answers. You're not waiting for someone else to do something for you. I got to go out and do this. I am supposed to be doing that. And we get that misconstrued as well as people doing what we want to do as opposed to doing what we're supposed to be doing. Right? Sometimes we got to break up with doing the shit we want to do. We do what we want to do because it's easy. We do what we want to do because that's what we've been groomed to do, or that's what we've been taught to do. So when you get to talking about this thing called breaking up with these old habits and these old ways and all these things, you got to retrain yourself. It's some things you're gonna have to relearn, because life itself is a teacher, and you're gonna learn a lot of things about yourself as you continue to live. But if you get anchored or weighted down in a certain place, then you said this yesterday, is dying while living. Because right there is where you'll be stuck at. And you'll hear the old people say, the southern old people always said, that motherfucker stuck in his ways. You can get stuck in your ways, right? And getting stuck in your ways will prevent you from going places where you know that you should be going, because getting stuck in your way means you're in your own way. Only you need to get out the way. And get out, don't get out my way, but get out of your way. You're in your way because of these obligations and these commitments that you had. And in your mind, you saying, I'm being loyal. No, you're being crazy. You need to do something with yourself. So,
Hey, that's a good one. Hey, that's good. That's good. Stuck,
yeah.
anchored,
Yeah.
stuck in your ways, meaning you in the way. You in your own way. And we know with breakups come grief. Most of us don't want to experience that grief.
That's real.
And we don't want to do the work to get through the grief.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter when you break up with somebody, only time can heal that hurt.
Mm.
You can do what you want to do. You can go for a jog. You can go box. You can go play some basketball. That's cool. But when you get alone, I guarantee you a song gonna come on.
That reminder, huh?
Hey,
That
you
reminder.
was doing fine. And that song come on and it bring up those emotions, right? And you know, as men, we feel those emotions. We don't show them. Most of the time, we don't show them, but
Right.
we feel them, and we do a lot of things to avoid them. And when we going through them, we don't really talk about it. but
Mm-hmm.
we feel those emotions when we hurt. And just like what we talking about breaking up, far as with limiting beliefs and you know, uh, setting boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
auditing your time, acknowledging reality. You were supposed to go here. You were supposed to be here. This was my goal. This was my dream. But you stuck now because you ain't reached it yet. So you are afraid of reality. So you believe in your mind, you're right, that you winning and achieving your dreams, right? But what you don't understand is that reality is reality. You ain't there yet. Your ass right here. And a lot of people are scared to face reality. It's good to dream and it's good to visualize, but you can't be so delusional till you skip reality. This is the reality of me right now. I'm not judging it, and I'm not saying that that's not a good thing or a bad thing, but this is you got to be able to look at yourself at where you are at right now. Some people are so delusional to where they say, well, I'm this, but you're not. But it's good to envision yourself as that, but don't get so delusional to where you start to believe that your shit don't stink. And that's the breakup right there. So the breakup is, yes, I can accept my reality right now or where I'm at and what I need to be doing.
Okay.
I can also accept where I want to be, right? So I have to put a gap in between there, and I gotta stay in sync, understanding that yes, I want to be there, but I'm not there yet.
Okay.
But this is my reality right now. So when I talk to people, I can be transparent. I can be authentic along the way to where I want to be. Because I know as I'm traveling, things are happening not just to me, but within me
That's right.
to prepare me and give me all the tools that I need along the way. Once I reach my destination through my journey, now I'm equipped to do what? To now grow more, increase, expand more. And not only to do all of that, but to now become a shade tree. But I had to break up with the thought of me not believing my reality. My reality is my reality. Yes, if this man is doing this and this and we having a conversation, I'm not going to talk about some shit that I'm not doing. Some people get in these conversations and they start fabricating.
Okay.
You go to a motherfucking house and now that's reality. Or you go talk to a close friend and they say, man, you ain't got that. What? See, that's reality. What you did, you allowed yourself to get caught up in the fabrication and the delusion. You have to break up with the fabrication and the delusion and not be afraid to be who you are. Be who you are all the way till you get to where you want to get to. And that's what they would call real.
Okay.
True authenticity.
So what you just described, Larry, and you said it earlier, and you just like really just staged it and walked us right into it, is accepting the discomfort of the void, right? I
Boy,
read that. The void. The void is that period between the now and the breakup. This is the breakup. This is the now. This is the void in between that, right? This is your reality, Larry. This is where the fuck you at right now. So, and I like how you broke that down because it makes so much sense, brother. Is that void is not just gonna be making yourself accountable, but it raises a sense of awareness, right? When you begin to be your true self, not for everybody else, but you do it for yourself. And while doing it for yourself, it's going to naturally happen for everyone around you. They're going to get to see you in your truest form, your rarest form, who you are. Allow that void, right? Because, like you say, we are humans. We do have feelings. We do have emotions. Breakups hurt. During that period, where that breakup is hurting you at, work on self, right? Accept the discomfort. It's gonna bother you. It's gonna fuck with you mentally. It's gonna do a lot of things to you when you let go things you hadn't got used to. But when you begin to accept it, then and only then will you begin to work towards becoming a better person. Because no one likes to feel pain and agony and hurt and all this. So what do you do to change that? Are you going to revert back to what's easy, what's normal, what you have been conditioned and trained to always go back to? Or are you going to keep going forward? Because if you go backwards, right, it's going to come a time that after you get through going back, you will come right back to the same spot. But if you go forward, you ain't got to worry about going back to that spot. You leveling up. You're going to begin to level up. You're going to begin to wisen up, right? Like you say, you had to fall in love with self. You said this a while back. You had to fall in love with self. But just here earlier, when you say you had to break up with your ego, so you had to develop a relationship with reading, with writing, with God. That's not saying I had to go to the church to find God. That's not saying I had to get locked up to find God. That's not saying that the man across the street, the preacher across the street, came over to me and saved my soul and I found God. That's saying I went within because God created me. He dwells within me. So I went within and found God. I went on the inside. And then by me doing that, the light illuminated on my outer. So that's your aura. See, you can look at people, Larry, and you'll see like a dullness over them. And you're like, damn, why they look like that? Because their light has been dimmed by the world. Because they have committed and became obligated to the ways of the world. And they done got lost up in who they are. They don't even know who they are. The minute they begin to find themselves, guess what? They begin to accept that discomfort that I'm talking about with that void. Because when they get to finding themselves, they get to let shit go. They get to moving shit out their life. They get to detaching things from their being. They get away from shit. They start moving different. The people that want them to remain the same gonna say, "Oh, you acting funny. Oh, you moving weird." No, I ain't acting funny because this ain't no joke. This real life. You just said it. This is reality. So, at what point do the individual say, "Fuck it, I got to face my reality. I know where I want to be, but I'm not there. This is where I'm at. However, I know what it takes to get there, and I'm gonna bust my ass and do the work to get there. And along the way, I'm gonna pick up the tools and the knowledge to be able to cope and maintain when I do get there, because I'm headed there. And that's what we got to understand as people. It's great to visualize, to dream, to set goals for yourself. But while doing those things, please, please, please be prepared to put the work in that it's gonna take you to get where the fuck you going. And don't let nothing and nobody come in between you and getting where you need to be at. And if there is something that comes in between you or someone that comes in between you and getting where you need to be, then it's up to you to remove that out of your life. Because that's coming in between this and this, that's that anchor. It's coming to weight you down. It's coming to hold you right there. Because what you destined for and where you at is two different places. But if you in alignment, if your reality is in alignment with your dreams and your goals, right, and they're realistic, and you know what it takes to get there, and you willing to do the work to get there, then goddamn it, you already on your way. Just continue to do the work.
When I was young, we didn't drink a lot of Kool-Aid in the house. But one thing my parents made sure we took every morning, right? They always had some Tang in the refrigerator. Remember Tang?
Orange juice.
And some cod liver oil. So you would drink your cod liver oil, you would take your Flintstone vitamin, and you would rinse it down with some Tang.
Okay.
And then you eat breakfast. The Tang was the Tang was delicious.
Mm-hmm.
That cod liver oil was terrible.
That's right.
But the cod liver oil was healthier than the Tang. So it was these relationships that you were building at a young age with your body, right? Okay, we'll eat sandwiches, but there's not gonna be a lot of snacks in the house. There'll be some chips, but there's not gonna be a lot of chips. But there's gonna be apples, bananas, fruit that you can grab, right?
Mm-hmm.
Won't you eat those first? And then if you still want some little bags of chips, by all means go grab a little bag of chips. But what that was teaching me was relationships. Not with people, but with choices. My relationship with choices. And I think a lot of us, as we grow up and we grow older, our choice relation, our relationships between choices are undeveloped.
Okay.
So we want to grab for the best. We want to grab for the sweetest. We want to grab for the greatest looking thing. We want to grab for the greatest thing that makes us feel the best. But it was that cod liver oil out of everything that I took or my parents fed me that kept me healthy. Cod liver oil was in a small, ugly bottle. It wasn't sweet and the taste was horrible.
That's right.
But that thing kept me healthy.
That's right.
It was cod liver oil. And I always tell people you cannot allow them to see something beautiful and say that it's good. You don't know if it's good. And you can't see something that's ugly and then frown your face up and say, because you don't know if it's ugly, you don't know if it's bad.
That's right.
And usually our eyes lie to us or deceive us.
That's right.
We've been trained when it comes to advertising to say, once I see it and it looks good, it's going to make me feel good. It's going to tickle my emotions, and I must choose that. And that's why people get dressed up, fixed up to the nines. When they go out, a woman or a dude might say, wow, look at her. Look at him. Dude that's sitting in the corner ain't took time to dress up, but he look decent. He out. They'll skip all over him, walk around him. He ain't the flashiest. He ain't the prettiest. He ain't buying everybody drinks. And he ain't the loudest. And they walk right past. And this is how undeveloped the choices are in our world today. And, and the relationship sucks between our choices and what we now latch on to. So I might see a guy that's driving a Hyundai Sonata. You might see another guy that's driving a Rolls Royce. And you'll look at that guy and say, that guy's successful. I know plenty of people who choose to drive smaller cars, but when they pull up to their house, it's immaculate. Family taken care of. They go on vacations. And they ain't living their life for the outside world. They're living their life because it's their life. They don't have to prove anything to anybody or they owe obligation to their family. So my family is, their belly's full. They go on vacations, whatever. All the bills paid. They got money in the bank. But you see this dude driving this car or this woman driving this car and you say, or you see her dressed down, never no makeup on, or him, he has maybe a hole in the shirt or whatever and he goes out in public, you'll judge him instantly and say he don't got nothing. And that's how skewed our relationship is with how we see things and what we choose. Okay. You see, then you choose. And that's how skewed it is right now in the world. And I got one more thing to say. There needs to be an auto correction. And there needs to be a breakup migration. And then there needs to be a point that we start over. And we say to ourselves, you know what? Maybe I do have this thing wrong. Maybe I do need to rethink and then relearn how I choose, because what I've chosen so far
ain't working.
What I've allowed into my life, it ain't working.
That's real.
I feel like an anchor. And I'm now like you always say, in the rat race, believing and doing what everybody else is doing because it's normal.
Hey, and that's just like Larry with what I was just talking about. Being able to accept that discomfort of that void in your life. See, that void, you know what? It's going to tempt you to fill it immediately, right? And sometimes we'll break up with something, whether it's a person, a place, or a thing, whatever, but just hurry up and want to jump into another relationship with something else. And in that relationship reminds you of what you just broke up with. You just said your eyes are lie to you. So you might have had a wonderful looking lady. I mean, mentally, physically, appearance, the mindset, all these things. But that didn't work out with you, right? You go to the store and you see something that look like, oh shit, I got to have that. I'm trying to fill this void, this hurt. So a lot of times breakups means things are gonna be broken, right? Us as people, men and women, we often get into new relationships with people, places, and things, and we come into them broken. Allow that void, that time period, to allow you to heal, right? You don't take that shit, that old shit, that bullshit, the shit that you left behind. Don't bring that with you. Don't bring that kind of baggage, that luggage with you on your next flight. Because what's going to happen is you're going to be you're gonna be weighing down. You're gonna be anchored because you're still holding on. And that's the thing. We talking about breakups. That means absolutely letting go, cutting off, detaching. You can't hold on to yesterday if you're going into tomorrow. It doesn't. It's not going to work like that because if you're holding on to yesterday, trying to go into tomorrow, you're gonna be you can't go this way because you're steady looking back. You steady looking back, and it's something tugging at you. Come here. You ain't leaving me. Come here. Come here. So, with this title that we just brought to our viewers about breakups, I want them to understand these three things. Understand what breaking up is. It is one of the hardest things, but it's going to be the most necessary decision that you make in your life. Stop holding on to those habits, the mindset, them commitments, and them obligations. Rid yourself of that, right? Identify your anchors and then identify your engine. Identify what holds you down and keeps you weighted down, and then identify what propels you or catapults you or make you move. Understand the difference between those and accept that discomfort of that void, that time span between the breakup and then the continuation. The time between that is not going to be comfortable. It's going to hurt. You're going to go through these things, but go through those things and allow yourself to heal in that process and fully let go of those things in order to embrace the new, right? Be creative, right? If the path you're choosing don't exist, create one. You don't have to be a follower of the man in the Rolls Royce. Don't want a Rolls Royce because the neighbor got a Rolls Royce. That's the wrong reason to want a Rolls Royce. You don't know what that man going through with that Rolls Royce. You don't know what he went through to get that Rolls Royce. And we spoke about this before. Sacrifices, right? What sacrifices are you willing to make? Because we're talking about breakups, so we got to talk about sacrificing some things. Understand what the term sacrifice means, because when you hear sacrifice, it'll seem as if you're taking a loss, right? Like you're losing something or you're giving something up. You don't see the spiritual fulfillment of the sacrifice, the gain that you get down the road, because everybody wants instant gratification. So you don't want to deal with the sacrificing of this. And that's these things that you want to hold on to. You don't want to let those go because you want instant gratification. So you don't want to do the work to get the way you need to be at. Breakups are necessary. I got to say that. They're very necessary in order to allow yourself to grow. In order to grow, there's some things that you're going to have to change. Your mindset being number one. You're going to have to change the way you think about things, the way you view things, the way you see things, the way you approach life in general has to change. If you don't change, then, well, I'm use this saying, if you change nothing, then nothing changes. So if you're okay with where you're at and you don't want more, then maybe you're in a great space in your life. I'm not here to tell you to make these sacrifices, to make these changes in your life because of what. But if you're right the way you want to be at, you've reached your peak, you at your ceiling, you don't see yourself going no further, you're in a great spot. But if you do have bigger dreams and goals and aspirations and you want more, it's some things you're gonna have to leave behind. It's some things you're gonna have to let go of. And you got to be willing to make that commitment. See, once you make that commitment to say, I'm done with that and I'm on to this, that's the first step at getting where you need to be at.
It's a commitment to your total well-being.
That's right.
It's a commitment to your total well-being. So it's some people that you're gonna have to erase their number out your phone.
Yeah.
Some people who gossip, you have to erase their number out your phone because you're growing, and that no longer serves you. And when you start setting some standards in your life, and you start living in your boundaries, people now, it's just like when they try to stop smoking, 9 times out of 10, it ain't gonna happen if you try to stop. But you got to follow a process and allow that process to now create a habit within you. That habit is going to stop you from smoking. Not you, but the habit that you formed will stop you from smoking. Me created a habit of coming home, go straight home, go home, don't go home, go home, go home. has now created a better me, because now I do what? I go home. When I was younger in my marriage, I didn't come home. I was being dumb, right? But just practicing habits, getting around other people who are practicing good habits, getting around uh, uh, teachings and books that practice good habits, that put you in a better state or a better environment within, caused you now to become transformed or renewed in your mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you're renewed and transformed in your mind, the body follows.
Mm-hmm.
Just like Trick said, kill the head, the body dead. And like I always say this, a lot of us are living, but we're dead because we're dead here. We're not thinking. We stopped thinking. We threw in the white towel and we said, you know what, I'm done with this shit. I had too many things happen to me. I'm fucking done. I quit. And I'm just gonna go to work. I'm gonna get up. I'm just gonna do the same shit. I'm just gonna live my life. I'm gonna die. You ain't say that, but that's what you're doing. But that's not how God created us. Shit gonna happen. As long as you live, shit gonna happen. And some shit gonna be out of your range. But what do? What do you do? Well, by me practicing what I practice, now it's gonna help me get through whatever I need to get through to get to. Because the shit that's happening, I always believe that it's to me and it's for me.
Okay.
Because of what it's doing within me.
Okay.
And whatever it's doing within me is gonna now do it without me. So now what you have, and I'm gonna be finished. Now what you have is an autonomous machine. Now you're a machine working on autopilot. What's hard for others is easy for you now, because of everything that you allowed to happen to you. It's now working for you. So now as it begins to work for you, you begin to become coach of your life. Now you begin to say, you know what, I like this, I like that, but I don't like that. I like this, I like that thought, I like this thought, but I don't like that thought. Get it out of here. So now you start to really speak over your life. Life and death lies in the power of the tongue.
That's right.
Your wife may bring you home some donuts, and you might be like, honey, I don't want that. Is that offensive? Probably, but she got to know that don't just bring me home anything. I appreciate you for bringing it and thinking of me, but bring me something better than that. You could do better than that. So when you got standards, you start to challenge other people on how they think when in relative to you. I don't want my wife thinking she can bring me anything to the house. I want her to know when she out there shopping, it causes her mind to say, you know what? My baby, like, he healthy, he like this, he like that. Okay, good. I'm gonna get him something that's gonna help him versus just make him feel good. And that's when you gotta start breaking up with shit. So I don't eat donuts, right? I don't eat donuts because there's no nutritional value in donuts, right? Donuts gonna make me feel good and it's good to the taste, but I don't eat donuts. So now y'all know I don't eat donuts. I don't fuck with donuts. So don't even bring me a donut, right? But that's the relationships that you form. But I'll eat a kiwi, cut me up a pineapple, bring me a pineapple home, I'll cut that bitch up, put it with some yogurt, and then eat the pineapple and some yogurt, right? So those are relationships that you form with food, with your significant other, with the way you think, with your mainframe, with your environment, the people that you come into contact with, the people you work with. They should know when you come that it's certain shit that you don't do, won't say, won't eat. And those are the conversations that they'll have behind your back. And if you continue to go with the flow, you will die slowly.
Hey, listen, quick recap. I got to run this thing down, but what you just said, man, I love it. And you spoke highly about, you didn't say the word, but you described it, conviction, right? When you begin to do this new you, and that thought comes to go through the old you, you're gonna feel convicted because it's challenging to let go. It's challenging to break up with things that you've been doing and these habits that you created over time. Because a habit ain't something that just comes overnight. It's the practice of doing something over time, right? And when you feel convicted about things, like you said earlier, when you have to question yourself, you already got the answer, right? You already got the answer. So when things begin to convict you, right, don't beat yourself down. Accept the change. because that's what's happening within. The mindset, the body, everything is changing. So when it sees that you slipping back into that old you, you're gonna get a feeling like, damn, I'm playing. Damn, do I do it? Ain't nobody watching. And that's when you got to be at your best. You got to be on your best game when ain't nobody watching. Because you ain't doing it for the watchers. If you're doing it for self, if you got all the right reasons about changing, people gonna see your change, but you have to do the work, the internal work, in order for it to show outwardly. People gonna see the difference in you when you talking to them, what the conversation is based upon. When you make changes in your life, you don't enjoy talking about old shit. I don't want to talk about what we did 10 years ago because when you begin to make changes, you're looking for something that's just going to serve you a purpose. What we did 10 years ago no longer serves me. That serves that person. Who I am today is not who I was yesterday. A lot of people be like, oh, you think you different. You think you better than me. No, you think that. You brought it to me. I appreciate that.
Appreciate you.
So thank you for that. And I'm gonna continue on my personal journey. You know what I'm saying? Appreciate you, Larry, for joining. For everyone that has not went to subscribe, please y'all take the time. I want to invite y'all over to YouTube to subscribe to our Two Paths Podcast at YouTube. Any comments, any topics that y'all would like to hear, please put them in the comment. And even if you want to come on the show, DM us or put it in the comment. We're glad to have you, man. We wide open to this thing. Any suggestions that you may have, and appreciate y'all, man. Again, Two Paths Podcast. We out.